taken the RPO out. Before I bring Barrett Brooks in here, because I'm going to hit on this one first with him. Since you've taken the RPO out, that 49er defense a year ago, how many times did they freeze Greenlaw and Warner? And they were playing from behind. When you took that RPO out, that slowed that defense down 10 months ago. When you took it out Sunday, that 49er defense was faster, running to the ball. Pursuit angles and lanes were great. You took an element of the game away. You're fifth in attempts, except the attempts from the quarterback are not high. Let's get to our friend, NBC Sports, our good friend, and I love the guy to death. By the way, I'm going to be in the Philly area this weekend. If you're around in King of Prussia, come up and I'll get you some wings because I'll be there from 3:30 to 5:30. You may be busy, though. I know you got a huge schedule, brother.
No, I got to be there.
Oh, my God, that's so great.
I got to be there.
Oh, my God, I can't wait to see you, Barrett.
Yeah, we're going to get it in.
30 to 5:30. I can't wait to see you, brother.
Let's make that happen, man. I mean, I don't have any more college football games, so I did my last playoff game last week. Youngstown State at Villanova, and I'm done with college football now. So my Saturdays are done. My Fridays, I'm ready to roll, man. I'm coming, man. I gotta be there. I'm coming.
I can't wait to see you, man. Let me throw this at you here. By the way, real quick, you enjoy being an analyst covering college football?
I actually enjoy that the most. You're out there with kids that are trying to make it to the league, even though like they're like some snotty nosed kids now. They're very, babyish. I still love seeing their effort and them trying to get to that next level, So I enjoy that aspect of it.
How about this, Barrett? I was just talking about the difference that I saw in the 49er defense. First, let me do this. What was your takeaway from that game? I don't want to pollute anything here. What was your takeaway from Sunday?
They were just out physical. They were a physical team. They went out there and out physical us from the start to the first two drives. The Eagles really went out there and showed them, all right, we can play this game. But then after that, I just think that coaching took over, and then the confidence level that team had from that point on after those two drives was just something they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the bleeding. They were just a better team this last week. And, in every aspect, in every facet, we let them dictate to us what we needed to do. I mean, just like, even running the ball, come on now, 11 rushing attempts by a running back. You just totally take the whole mindset of that offensive line out. And it wasn't like up front, they got beat up front. I mean, Lane Johnson whooped Bosa's ass.
Whooped him.
And we still couldn't go out there and pass the ball consistently. I mean, every time a quarterback can hold the ball for 4 seconds and you still don't get a positive play out of it, there's got to be something wrong as far as coaching, as far as whatever they're doing is in their playmaking abilities, just not happening. Just not happening.
You know what? I threw this out there, Barrett, and as well as anybody, especially when you're playing high-level football. Think about this, too. Dak and the Cowboys, then you play the Chiefs, then you turn around and play an overtime game against the Bills. Then you roll in and you play against a very physical 49er team. The last two games, 75 plays, and then they played 95 plays. You know what I know. It's about 62, 63 plays a game that most people play. You theoretically almost played 3 games inside of a week span when he went on a Monday night, then you played on a Sunday, then you had to turn around and play the Niners. How much did you see with fatigue, especially when you're missing tackles? And the way Jason Kelce played, I mean, Lane, as great as Lane played, I really didn't think Kelce played that good in that football game Sunday.
Oh, he didn't, because you just look at it as a whole. I mean, I'd say the war of attrition is going to catch up with you. And, I'm not going to say that they played weak. I'm not going to say that they played scared. I'm not saying any of that. But your body can only take so much. I think it was like 3 games in less than 17 days or something to that effect.
Yep.
Each of the last 2 opponents had 10 days to prepare for them. That's a lot of time resting for the opposing team. But to have 95 games and then play 6 days later, and play, that's just tough. The war of attrition, your body, You just, you're trying to get there, you can't get there, your body's not allowing you to get there. Tackling was a major, major, major key to them losing this game. They couldn't tackle anybody. I mean, Roby went up to try to hit Purdy, and he bounced off of him like he wasn't even there. Like, kid, get off me, and that's just not the Eagles defense that I've seen. I mean, it's not Eagles, the way the Eagles play, period. So I make no excuses. They kick the Eagles' ass, period.
Didn't it look like this, though, Barrett? They had 8-19. Then for 3 quarters, they put up 450 yards on them. I thought when they didn't get the 14 points and they only got 6, I thought that was going to come back to really doom them, and it totally doomed them. And when they took the lead at 7-6, you kind of saw the whole thing almost deflate a little bit right in front of your eyes.
It absolutely did. You saw the demeanor of how everybody changed from that point on. I mean, just little things, taking a sack, and a 7-yard loss with it. That's just not smart football. And there were 2 occasions where that happened, where, taking a sack that far, just throw the ball away or throw it to the guy that's open. I mean, I saw on several occasions where wide open receivers just weren't hit. It just didn't seem like the entire team was in sync with each other. The first 2 drives, they were in sync, and all of a sudden they get down to pay dirt in the red zone. Something stupid happens and they don't score on it. I mean, hell, I'd have just did the tush push for 10 straight plays and scored if it took that. I mean, it was just ridiculous football. But I'm not going to do what they did. I'm not going to make excuses for them. They got beat, period, point blank. I got to hear it from everybody. Oh, what do you think about Brock Purdy? No, I think Brock Purdy, I've always thought Brock Purdy's a pretty good quarterback. He's shown the ability to be a great quarterback. When
all the pieces are on the field, though, Barrett, when they're not on the field, okay, Jalen showed us a couple weeks ago when he won without Lane. You take Trent Williams off that team, I saw a struggling Brock Purdy.
So you take Debo off that team,
yeah,
you're a struggling guy. And that's why everybody's saying, oh, they're the best team. Yeah, they're the best team. They're 1A, Eagles are 1B.
Yeah, but they're the best team today, not
exactly.
Not in January, not January 6th. Let's wait and see, because you brought it up, the war of attrition. Hey, I want to throw this at you here, and I spoke to Frank Reich, and I want to get your opinion on this. And I don't know if it's the coordinators, and I'll get your opinion on both the coordinators. I don't personally think Sean Desai is doing that awful of a job. I think that there's a lot of spare parts out there. Look at the linebackers. Every guy that's on the team now has been waived by somebody.
Yeah, they all been cut. They've
all been cut. I've never seen that on the 10-2 team where all the linebackers have been cut. But let me throw this at you here. I asked him a question about the analytics department in Philly, and this is what he told me. And by the way, I think this is a league thing. I don't think that this is just an Eagle per se thing. He said that the coaching staff gets the analytical details, like from Alec Halaby and all these guys. They put all the analysis together, what's good on 3rd and 7, what's good on 2nd and 2, plus 30, what have you. They have all these analytical numbers. And the coaches put the game plan off that information. Now, to me, that kind of maybe looks why it's a little bit I'm not balanced.
Yep.
Last year, if you think about it, that defense was put together by Gannon. That's his system. Then last year, that was Shane Steichen. Look at the job Shane's doing now in Indianapolis. These 2 coordinators are asked to coach Jonathan Gannon's defense and Shane Steichen's offense. Is it that these guys right here are getting more used to being coordinators? Because as you know, Barrett, when you're a position coach versus being a play caller on both sides of the ball, there's a transition there for head coaches going from that level to being a head coach. Why wouldn't that also be a transition for those guys to go through? And that's why it's wobbling a little bit.
Well, it has to be a transition. They have to learn what their style of play is and what's more conducive for the talent that they have on the roster. You can't think that you could run the same plays you had last year with the guys you have this year. Roby's totally different from the slot corner they had here, so it's a totally different game. Even the defensive line, you look at the guys up front, it's just totally different. You had Hargraves, he can generate pressure in the middle of the field, but he can't stop the run. These guys can stop the run, but they can't go out there and be they can, but they're not as good as a pass rusher as Hargraves was. Hargraves is great at it.
He's on pace for another 11 this year.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about guys that can play, and it's just a different group of people. This is a different soup than they had last year. I mean, totally different ingredients that they have. So you got to learn who you have, and then implement those guys in a fashion in which they're good. Like I really think that we're not using Smith the way he's only played 10% of the snaps on the defensive side of the ball.
And they cut Barnett. Why aren't they using him?
Well, and then he's 10%, but I just don't think at this point he can pass rush against these bigger guys like he has to do right now. I mean, it's tough for them to do that. It's tough for them to, you can't just run around those guys like you ran around those guys in college. So you got guys that can move, you know what I'm saying? And because they can move, he's got to find a different way to go out there and beat these guys. He'll eventually find it, just like Hassan Reddick took for him a while to get to where he is now. He'll eventually find out what's best for him. And I know his ceiling is only going to go up higher, just like Carter's ceiling is going to go up higher. But it's a different chef now. And he had to use those ingredients and put in and make his own soup. He can't use last year's system, just like right now. We can't use last year's system on the offensive side of the ball because you look at who they have at the running back position. Totally different running back than we had. In fact, I think we have a more explosive guy, but we just not tied to the run like we should be. Running the ball is not just going out there and imposing your will and dominating, but running the ball has so many other implications. It keeps your offense on the field. Time of possession goes in your favor. You just out physical people, make them like it. That's why you run the ball. It's more so an attitude type plays, more so than anything. And we're losing that, and it's getting lost in the translation because we're not doing that consistently.
How about this, Barrett? You mentioned Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and I'm wondering, here's the last 3 weeks: 165, 175, 148. Do you think that we're looking at two kids, especially one who's 20 years old, who really, when you think about rotation at Georgia, they killed so many teams when they were there, really didn't have a high volume of plays. This kid's playing a lot of plays here, especially with the injuries there. Then you have Jordan Davis, who was in a alternate role a year ago. He's being asked, and he's a bigger body. Do you think you're seeing a little bit that when you see somebody like Milton Williams go out, and then you have Fletcher go out, they're not out for long periods of time, but that rotation gets upset, Barrett. And when that rotation gets upset, that's a higher volume of plays you have to play on a week-to-week basis. Do you think they're starting to see a little, and you're starting to feel a little bit of that volume right now?
Of course, they're hitting the rookie wall right now. Rookie wall is real. I can remember after week 13, I can remember my rookie year, I had played every single snap of every single game, even the 4 preseason games. And you have to add those games also, the 4 preseason games and the 13 games we played. And I hit that rookie wall. And I can remember I'm starting at left tackle. I had played the likes of Mr. White, Reggie White. I played Charles Haley. I played Leslie O'Neal, Derek Thomas. I'm talking about Hall of Famers. I'm playing these guys, Bruce Smith. And after about week 13, I'm looking at, I'm like, yo, I'm done, you know what I'm saying? So I'm out there practicing. It's cold out there. We're in Philly, snow on the ground, and I hit somebody and I broke my thumb. And I was just in a, I was just pissed, And I had my coach come up there at the time, and he started yelling, and I started yelling, cussing at him back, and I had flipped it, I had lost it, and I started running. I started chasing. Oh, I'm gonna kill you! I lost it. You know what I'm saying? Because I had hit that rookie wall, and head coach, told me, Ray Rose said, get in there, take it to the house. So he took me, he told me to go in, and we still had like 30, 40 minutes practice left. So I walked back to the locker room, and here I am. I start packing my stuff up, and then as soon as other players came in, they were like, ooh. So I'm thinking I'm cut. So Ray Rose comes in, everybody else is in meetings, and I'm in there packing my stuff. He's like, what are you doing? I said, you just cut me. What do you mean? What am I doing? Man, I didn't cut you, man. Take your ass to that meeting, get in that meeting, learn out why you didn't do this or why you didn't do that. So after that, I went to the meeting, and then after the meeting, he said, hey, come back to my office. Man, I went back to his office, me, Ray Rhodes. I sat in his office all night, and we were drinking moonshine. He was telling me old stories about LT and everything else. In fact, I actually slept in his office that night, and he left me in the office. I slept on the couch. I got up. He came in. He got, hey, get up. Go get in the steam room. Steam that out of you. got me up at 6 o'clock, got in the steam room, steamed it out of me, and it's business as usual. You know what I mean? But that rookie wall right now is hitting. Jordan Davis and those guys. Jordan Davis, he played last year, but I mean Carter, Smith, all these young guys, they're hitting that rookie wall. You know what I'm saying? They haven't played. They played 13 games there last year, and half of those games they didn't play in the second half. So now they're playing more reps. It's more physical. They got grown men out there with grown men bodies. They just got to get into that flow, get past that rookie wall, jump over that wall, and then they'll settle back in and be okay for the rest of the season.
Barrett, couple last questions for you. Do you think that Howie made a mistake by not bringing back? Now, listen, Kaiser White, maybe you kind of get, but I want to throw this at you here. That do you realize that right now, TJ Edwards is on pace for 470 tackles over the last 3 years, and he's on pace for 150 tackles over the last 3 years per season. And Kaiser White's going to have 130 tackles this year. So if you put that in perspective, last year, TJ had 160, and last year, Kaiser had, that's 280 tackles between those two guys. I mean, you got spare parts, and you put so much faith in the Kobe. Boy, they really miscalculated at that position. It's coming back to haunt them.
They didn't hit the mark. And what makes it so irritating for me when it comes to, especially TJ Edwards, he was a homegrown product. He was here. We brought him in as a rookie. He was a free agent, but we brought him as a rookie.
Developed him.
We developed him, taught him the game, showed everybody what he can do. And he wanted to go home, yes, but he's only making like $5 million. Hell, give him $6 million.
Hey, Barrett, this is all you have to do. I want to go home. Okay, here's $6.5 million. All right,
exactly. I'm staying. I'm staying then.
I'm staying.
And we're talking about a guy that, I mean, he showed he's exactly what you want from a development standpoint of bringing in guys and developing what you want in a player. That's by far the worst thing we let go last year was TJ Edwards. Everybody saying Hargraves, no. It was CJ no. It was letting TJ Edwards go because the middle of that defense has become the Achilles heel of the defense. We can't stop anybody because we're not straight in the middle of the defense. Now we just brought in, Shaq Leonard, and we'll see if he has anything left. I mean, that's my dog. He's my frat brother. I'm sure he has enough that we
Omega.
Yeah, he's an Omega. Yeah, he's an Omega. But I just at this point, I need somebody out there who's seen it before, like CJ GJ. People don't understand. He was just out there freestyling and made plays. We need somebody like that. Bradley Roby, he's gonna develop into being somebody that's gonna be consistent for us because he's seen everything under the sun. We know Shaq Leonard has seen everything under the sun. We just need those guys to be consistently ready to play. Because I mean, Sidney Brown had too many assignment busts that I saw in the game, which didn't allow us to play at a high level.
He plays with his hair on fire and he's not under control yet, and he over pursues. He over pursues in his tackling. He's a gorer. Look, his intensity's great and all, but he's got to be a better tackler, Barrett, and he's got to calm down a bit. I mean, slow it down a little bit.
He's got to learn. He's got to know when to pull the trigger and when not to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to do too much. Just do your job. Yesterday on the big play they had to the tight end Kittle. On that play, he has the flats. They were running a cover 3. He had the flats, but instead he takes and carries Brandon Ayuk too far inside and leaves the flats wide open. So everybody sees at that point, they see the linebacker running after him. Morrow running after. It's not Morrow's place. Morrow should have took that wide receiver that's going across into his zone and matched up with him. But by that time, he had already ran past him. And then, Brown has let the flats area wide open. And that's why Kittle was able to get 20 yards on that play and eventually went in for a score. You just can't do that. You got to do your job. And I saw too many fundamental breakdowns in that defense to really do anything. Too much tackling being an issue, fundamentally not knowing your plays was an issue. And then I saw too many guys letting those 49ers like stand over them and like intimidate them.
Yeah.
I saw that. You can't say anything but, all right, yeah, they pushing after the play. All that stuff ain't going down with me. You don't touch me after this play, man. All right, y'all winning, but you're not finna be standing over me. You're not gonna be trying to, Debo me. You're not doing all that. Well, I saw a lot of that yesterday, and they let it happen.
See, a guy like Barrett, man, he'll do this kind of shit to you when the play's just about, as soon as it's over, the whistle blows, he'll give you that last push.
Yeah.
Slap that thing
Yeah,
down, you go like this. Get that son of a bitch off.
Right. Right.
Because offensive linemen, what they like to do is, man, they'll give you that one last shot, and you're like, don't do that again.
Right.
I did. You're right. I saw a ton of that. Okay, finally here. Dude, the 49ers, you're not going to run into a 53-man roster until you get to the NFC title game. That team is an anomaly because they're built like you. So when I look at Dallas and I go, see, Dallas is thinking, well, wow, look what the Niners did to him. I'm like, you ain't the Niners, dog.
No,
you're not
even
even nowhere near the Niners. How concerned are you about them going into this game against – look, Barrett, think of this. They played – what would you say? They played a C-plus game, the Eagles?
Yep.
In that first one, and the Cowboys played an A game. That means that the Cowboys are hoping you play a D-plus game for you to have a shot to beat them. I'm like, I don't know. Help me out on this, man. How do you
they played a perfect game for them. They played the ultimate perfect game.
And lost.
And I'm thinking, I mean, look, they had their best numbers. Like, you look at CD Lamb. CD Lamb had 191 yards or 191 yards against us. 191 yards. That's the best game he had all season. Ferguson had like 71 yards, 81 yards. That's the best game he had all season. They gave him their best. We weathered it and won. So this game, they're going to have a whole different team out there. This Eagles team will be focused, number one. They'll get back to basics, number two. And they're getting guys back that are healthy. You know, Cunningham will be back. So he'll kind of solidify things in the middle. And then Goddard will be back, and he'll solidify things in the middle. I truly think if Goddard was on the field on Sunday, it would have been a much different game because there were no passes in the middle. Every time they threw passes in the middle, like the AJ slants and stuff like that, or dig routes, he made them pay for it. He got it and run after the catch. But we're still trying to beat guys outside of big plays. No, nickel and dime the team. And then, coach said, you can't just go out there and just, piecemeal it down the field. You can't 5 yards here, dump here, because eventually you make a mistake. No, that's what's winning. That's what they did to us. That's what we have to do. So, you'll see a totally different team, hopefully a more fundamental team, and Nick will have those guys going for this game.
I want to sneak one last one in on you about Jalen Hurts. Do you think Jalen Hurts has been playing top 3 football this year?
Not right now, no. He's still top 5, top 6, but
he's making critical plays, Barrett, in critical moments to win games. But am I right when I say this? It just doesn't look like last year where he was dominant.
I think it's more so they're not.
Is it the play calling?
Oh, that you took the words out of my mouth. Play calling is just not the same. They're asking them to do a lot of things different, and a lot of things that you talked about earlier on before I got on. The RPOs, they're not letting them run those RPOs like they used to last year. He doesn't use his legs like he used to. Number one, because he was hurt. But number two, they want to, preserve their quarterback. So it's not the same offense. So since it's not the same offense, defenses aren't defending him the same way. He is
Is it not the same offense, or is it a different mentality organizationally because you're giving him a ton of money? Boomer Esiason said this, Jalen's going to have to learn to play with that contract. I never really thought what it really meant, but I also have to think that the Eagles themselves have to learn how to play him with the contract. Don't you think?
That's exactly what's going on. You say you don't know what you're talking about, what he's talking about when you ask, how do you play with the money? How do you play after you get the money? Well, that's exactly how you play. You play like he's playing right now. But the difference is, I think that last week, not this last Sunday, but the last Sunday, he used his legs a lot more, and that's why they had a little more success.
Bills.
He makes you account for him. Last Sunday's game, they only had to defend 10 guys. But when Jalen is being Jalen and he's using his legs, now a defense has to defend all 11 players. You know what I'm saying? And when you have to defend all 11 players, that gives you one less guy that can be in pass coverage. There's one less guy you can have in a run fit. It's one less guy that you can use because he has to make sure that Jalen is accounted for. And when you have to account for Jalen, that means somewhere else, everybody else has to be perfect. So when you make the defense be perfect, that's when they become imperfect and they can make a play, because now you're accounting for all 11 people. And that's huge. That's huge when you think about a defense wanting to go out there and stop you from a quarterback position.
This weekend, I'm going to be at the King of Prussia Hooters, and Barrett's going to stop by, and I got someone else coming by. It's Angelo Cataldi.
Okay.
I think JAKIB's coming by too.
There we go.
So we're gonna sit there and we're gonna kind of eat some wings. By the way, I already told the guys. I got me and Big Barrett. Hey, we don't want wings. We want a rack of wings.
Yes. I'm gonna shut them down. Let's go. We gonna shut them down.
Really, man. We may shut you down here because I know what we're gonna do here, dude. I love you so much. I can't
appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
I really can't wait to see you. Make sure you check them out. NBC Sports. Barrett, thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Take it easy, bro.
You got it. Our good friend, Barrett Brooks. I'm so looking forward to seeing him Saturday, man. I love the guy. There you go. So I got Cataldi, I got JAKIB, and I got Xander. Oh, Xander's my private caddy. Xander's my caddy for the whole, like Saturday and Sunday. He's my caddy. He's probably driving a caddy, knowing him. Me, I drive a Yugo, and I'm a man of the people, and I just do my best here. I'm just, yeah. Seth Joyner's going to join us in hour number 3. Keep it up. You're being a Philly tag. Where you going? Oh, by the way, I want to throw this out there because how much I love this man that many of you love. Hold on here. You see this right here? This is Dick Allen right here. He signed his baseball for me. They're putting a mural up of Dick Allen down in South Philly for the great player that Dick Allen was with the Phillies. Man, he's my favorite ball player growing up. Wampum. Yes, sir, baby. Wampum. I love Dick Allen. You guys are putting up a mural for Dick Allen in South Philly. All the Paisans get a chance to see it. Very cool. Awesome. Power Hour coming up. Seth Joyner's also coming up. We're going to talk some ball with him, get his take. That was awesome with Barrett. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.